Do you remember when you were single, or maybe you still are single, did you have a go-to pickup line? Let's be honest, most of them didn't work, but maybe it was something cheesy like this. Is there an airport nearby? Or is that my heart taking off? They were usually cheesy, and like I said, they generally never seemed to work, but always seem to have a go-to pickup line. Well, here we are. We've arrived at the last week of the Untold Story series. And we're going to continue the plane metaphor. We're going to land this plane today, and we're going to talk about the final thing that Jesus wanted to tell us in that book. So let me ask this question. If you were to meet Jesus walking down the street, and he were to try to engage you, if you were to try to use a pickup line on you, for use of a better term, what would he say to you? What would he say to try to engage you in a conversation and to try to bring you into a relationship with him? Well, we know, because after Jesus was crucified, put in the tomb, he then was resurrected. And we're going to look at 3 conversations that he had after he was resurrected, and those conversations that he would have with people like us that he reached right where they were. The first person he talked to was a lady by the name of Mary Magdalene. And this conversation is for those people who grieve. You see, Mary was part of the inner circle of Jesus. She was there at the cross when he was crucified. She went with them to the tomb where they laid him down, and she went back early one morning to that tomb. She was still grieving when she got there. But she was surprised when she got there because the tomb was open and Jesus' body was gone. And she thought there was a gardener behind her. And she asked the gardener, where did they take his body? It was actually Jesus behind her. And Jesus spoke to her. And it's at that moment that he said her name that she realized that it was Jesus and that he was alive. You see, in Jesus talking to Mary, to those who grieve, he reminds us that death is not the end, that there is resurrection. So if you are somebody who's grieving, we have that promise from Jesus that that's not the final ending, that there is that resurrection to come. The second group of people that Jesus wanted to talk to were those who had doubts. And for this group, he talked to a person named Thomas. He gets a bad rap and a bad name. In fact, we often call him Doubting Thomas. But you see, I think that is a bad rap. Thomas was a good disciple. He believed in Jesus, but he valued authenticity. That's something we value at this church. And he was authentic in his struggles, and he was authentic in his questions. You see, after Jesus was arisen, he appeared to the disciples, but Thomas wasn't there. And those other disciples told Thomas that they had seen Jesus and he was alive. And Thomas said, not until I see him personally will I believe. You see, those authentic struggles, those authentic questions, they'll do one of 2 things in our lives. They will either make us stronger, or they will make us question everything in our life. And Thomas had to get to that point. But Jesus came a second time to the disciples, and this time Thomas was there, and Jesus turned directly to Thomas and said, here I am. I'm alive. And he didn't do that to condemn Thomas. He did that to tell Thomas that Jesus is big enough for our doubts and our questions. So if you have doubts, know that through that conversation with Thomas, Jesus is big enough to deal with our doubts and our questions, and he wants you to grow closer to him. The third group of people that Jesus wanted to talk to are those who fail. And for this, he talks to Peter. Peter was one of the 3 closest people to Jesus on this earth. that super close inner circle of disciples. Peter was there for 3 years, day in and day out, was with Jesus. But in one night, Peter turned and denied Jesus 3 times. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in one night. He denied even knowing who Jesus was. I'm not sure any of us have failed more than what Peter did at that time. So if you failed, know that Jesus will come to those who fail. After he was arisen, he found Peter and he asked Peter, "Peter, do you love me?" Not once did he ask the question, not twice, but 3 times he asked Peter, "Do you love me?" He didn't ask him, "Peter, why did you deny me?" He didn't ask, "Why did you leave?" He didn't condemn him for any of that. He just said, "Do you love me?" And now he knew Peter loved him. He just wanted Peter to know that God always loves us. The question is, will we love him in return? So if you are someone who grieves, if you're someone who doubts, if you're someone who fails, and let's be honest, that describes every single one of us. We all doubt, we all grieve, and we all fail. But Jesus is there for us. That he can speak to our grief. He can speak to our doubts. He can speak to our failures. Because one other thing we learned from when Jesus died and was resurrected, it didn't end on that Friday when he was crucified. Because come Sunday, he rose from the dead. And he's there for us to meet us right where we're at. No matter what's going on in our life, he is there. And he wants to use one of those pickup lines on you to start a relationship that he hopes will never end. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, click below. You can also comment below. Subscribe to our channel. And also hit that notification bell so you'll know whenever we post a new video. Again, hope it was an encouragement, and welcome home.